Okay, we've talked, I can't tell you how many times on this program about the installation side of this business and how it's been graying and how there's been problems in it. Finally, somebody's doing something about it, and that guy is Don Barrett. He is managing director of an organization called Fast Career Institute. Don, it's great to have you on this program.
Thank you, and it's good to see you again. You and I have talked many times about many things over way too many years.
Way too many years, way too many years. Now, on this program, and I guess anywhere around this industry, people have been talking about the graying of the installation community, the fact that there are a limited number of younger people coming into this business. And that's a major problem for this business and a problem that you're doing something about. And the name of the solution is Fast Career Institute.
Yeah,
tell us about it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thanks so much. Let me first explain what FAST is. FAST stands for Flooring Academy of Specialized Training Career Institute. And since that's such a mouthful, and that's probably the only time I've ever gotten it right in a hurry, we just truncated it a little bit. We called it FAST Career Institute, it came out of, and I'm third generation flooring guy. My grandfather and my father had a flooring store. When I was about 12 years old, my dad took a look at me one miserable day and said, tall skinny kid, free help, that guy didn't show up for work, go to work today. And I started carrying an old Axminster installer's toolbox. And so I've been at this all of my life, and one of the things that we find is the guys my age and your age, we're all gray hair and we're baby boomers. And the baby boomers have driven pretty much everything in this industry for the last 30, 40 years, but we're done. We're retiring, we're dying, we're leaving the industry for one reason or another, or we're at least trying to get off of our knees. And so what we're finding is this graying out of our trade is leaving us in a position where, as the economy is getting better, after a lot of years of not being very good, but as the economy is getting better, what we find is these flooring stores are having good years, and all of a sudden they can't find enough installers. And one of the things I have to say is sad about our industry is there is no such thing as the Flooring Academy or the Flooring Installer Academy. There's some people that do certification, and God bless them. I think certification is a wonderful thing. But if you're losing guys, that's a different problem than skill.
Right.
Certification hopefully is going to give us better skills, but tomorrow it doesn't give us one more crew. And if you and if you talk to most of the guys that are having a banner year, what they need is one more crew or 10 more crews. And so that's kind of where this thing came from. I've been working with a company that is a big install contractor. I work for a company called Keller Interiors. The guy that owns that company is David Keller. He's a wonderful guy. He's got a real vision. He's got a real heart for our industry. He cares about the quality. And one of the things I've been doing for that company for the last couple of years is recruiting. And I can tell you what recruiting looks like in our industry today. And it's sad because what winds up happening with recruiting is I wind up hiring the guy you fired yesterday.
Yeah.
You wind up hiring the guy that I fired the day before. And we just swap guys that aren't necessarily any better than the guy we had. And what we need is we can always use better. A better installer is a better thing. But what we really need is we need more installers. And there's just no good, there's no good plan out there. There's no good support program out there. And I was sitting talking with some folks from Lowe's one night. And it was funny because it sounded like I was sitting there talking to my dad and my grandfather, 40 years ago about how bad the installers were then and so on. And here's Lowe's with literally thousands of installers wanting more and talking about the quality and the lack of quality, and they spend a lot of money on certification. But what they're realizing is certification is not getting us more installers.
And that was top of mind for them, recruiting and bringing people into the system.
That's exactly right. We were sitting there, and I was kind of quiet and listening. I know that comes as a surprise to everybody that I was quiet. I was sitting there kind of quietly letting everybody else have their say, and it was kind of that quiet point in the conversation. And I said, well, in the category for what it's worth, I know how to fix it, but when I tell you what it's going to cost, that's where the train comes off the tracks. And a couple of weeks later, one of the guys from Lowe's called and he said, we'd like to pick your brain. Just come in and sit and talk with us a little bit. We'd like to pick your brain. I grew up in an independent retail operation. I worked for Home Depot for a few years. I worked 20 years in the carpet manufacturing business. And all of a sudden these guys call and say, we'd like to talk to you. So I went, we sat down, we talked, and I told them, I said, guys, here's the problem. Nobody's recruiting in a meaningful way. There's no real industry effort to recruit. We keep setting up these training programs, and I'm not going to name names, but in my years, we've had a dozen of them that we printed a really nice big manual, and we built some little mock-ups, and we went to somebody's warehouse on a cold January day, and we threw the installers in there, and what we started to do was training. What we wound up settling for was certifying because we couldn't get the recruits. So here's my view, my vision. I believe we need to have a comprehensive recruiting program, and part of that is where you're going to go, who you're going to get. I think guys coming out of the military, as the military is downsizing, that's a great place. Some kid that went through VOTEC programs in high school and learned how to do shingles or drywall or plumbing or something like that, and maybe he doesn't want to do those things, but he wants to stay in the vocational trades. That's great. Basically, anybody that's going to go to truck driving school or wrench turning school, that's who we really need to go get. And it's not going to, that will never ever happen by accident. Recruiting is critical and crucial to our success, and recruiting doesn't happen by accident. We're going to have to put together a program, and there's going to have to be a website, and there's going to have to be trips and visits to the job fairs. And we're going to have to put together a consortium of everybody in the industry. And here's the interesting thing. When I talk to somebody that has a big workroom in Denver, and I talk to a guy that runs a dozen crews in Cincinnati, and I talk to these guys, they say, guys wander in here all the time and say, we need a job. We would like to learn a career. We need a job. We need money. And they look at me and they go, we don't have any place to send them. Even if we wanted to, we don't have any place to send them. There is no standalone, go there for a month, learn part of the trade. So there's the recruiting piece is critical, and we've always gotten that wrong. God bless our efforts.
And this will be all over the country.
That's right. I believe it has to be a national thing. I believe, everybody's free to come and go as they please, and they can work in Cincinnati this week, and they can work in Miami next week if they want to. Summer, winter, I don't know, but the people are free to go, come and go. Here's the other part of this that's really critical to the original thought process. I don't think you can train an installer in a week, or 2 weeks, or 4 weeks, or 6 months. There's too many variables. There's too many things to learn. So I'm going to take a page. My dad is still alive, God bless him. He's 80 years old, and when we get together, we still talk about the flooring business. There's no surprise there. This business you never leave. But my dad used to say, I can't tell you how many times I've heard him say that, he would always say, if I could find one great helper, I could double my capacity. I could move so much faster. If I just had that kid if I just had that kid that could keep up with me, that knew the name of that tool when I asked for it, could anticipate and already have the seam iron plugged in, if I just had a really great helper, then I'd be a better installer. I would produce more. I would make myself more. I would make my family more. And in the process, I could probably teach this kid something. So here, and I'm not very bright, but here's our goal. Our goal is to recruit people from outside the industry. I don't want to untrain somebody's bad habits. That's bad mojo. I don't want to untrain some guy. I want to go outside the industry. Anytime somebody walks into a flooring store and says, hey, I need a job, and they say, well, I don't have a sales job, I don't have a job inside, I don't have a warehouse job, I don't have a measure job, but I need more installers. Would you be interested in going to school for a month? Well, let's talk about that. Right now, there's no place to send them, there's nobody to call, there's no website to go to. In a couple of weeks, we're going to have that taken care of, and we're going to have that place that you can just literally say, here, go to this website and tell Don we sent you. Okay? But the idea is this. If all we do is recruit this kid, we bring him into class, and we make it a hands-on, mock-up based, simulator based training program, and all day, every day for the next 28 days, this kid's going to spend 6 hours a day putting tack strip down, taking tack strip up, putting pad down, taking pad up, running 100 feet of seams every day. I mean, every day we're going to have them in that mock-up running seams. At the end of every day, we're going to get all of their peers together around, and they're going to have to stand there and defend their work and have their peers pick it apart. Now, I don't think that kid's going to come out of there being a great installer, but if he knows the name of every tool, he knows what it does, he knows why it does it, he knows how to take it apart, he knows how to put it back together, he knows how to sharpen it, he knows when I need it and when I don't need it, he knows which toolbox it goes in and how quick that can get back to the truck. Those are all things we can teach. We can teach that stuff. So we're thinking a couple of hours a day, we have them in class, and the whole rest of the day, we give them an assignment, we hand them a tape measure and a piece of grid paper, and we say, go measure that mock-up, and we're going to do that this afternoon. They go out, we teach them how to do carpet math, we teach them how to measure. We're going to teach them all of these skills. Again, do I think that's going to give us an installer? No, I don't. I'm never going to claim that these guys are installers. What I am going to claim is this. Our goal at the FAST Academy is that that's the best darn helper you ever had. Our goal then is to recruit them, train them for a month, and then take them and send them right back to Cincinnati or Indianapolis or Miami or wherever it was that they came from. We want to send them right back. So I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call that Carpet One dealer. Carpet One, by the way, has agreed to help us sponsor the program, as has Lowe's and several other people. But we're going to call that person that sent them and say, this guy's going to graduate at the end of the month. You ready to have him back? Great. We need you to help us find a good installer that will take this kid and finish him out. Spend another 6 months with him, and in the trade-off is we give you a kid that's a whole lot better than any kid you ever had before. And I'm old enough that I'm going to call them kids all day, so please forgive me. But this kid is going to know, again, he's going to know the name of every tool. He's going to know what toolbox it goes in. He's going to know to plug the seam iron in after the pad's down. I mean, he's going to know all of these things. If you send him off to measure something, yeah, he's probably going to be slow, but he's going to know what he's doing, and he's going to know to write it in feet and inches, and he's going to know how to do the math. And those are the kinds of things we're going to do. Now, again, it needs to be a national school. One of the things that's always troubled me is every time we've ever tried to have a school and have a program, we started off to do training, we wound up doing certification, and then the first class was full, and the second class wasn't, and the third class never happens. Because we just didn't take care of the recruiting piece. If you're not shoving stuff in this end, it's tough to have stuff coming out this end. The other thing that we do is we start off with recruiting. We go to the training, and the training will be about 4 weeks. It'll be 5 days a week. It'll be 8 hours a day. It'll be in Dalton, Georgia. So for those of you that just, that are west of the Rockies and you just cringed, I'm sorry. We got to start somewhere. And I'll tell you, as a personal story, and if you talk to anybody that's been in this business very many years, they'll tell you that one of the great epiphany moments that they had in their career was when they got that first mill tour. And I don't care whether it was through a hardwood plant or whether it was through Armstrong or Mannington or wherever it was that they got to, get in the plane and they went and they went to the tour. They remember that stuff for the rest of their lives. And that's what we want. These kids will see yarn extruded, they'll see backing made, they'll see tufting done, they'll see dyeing done, they'll see carpet tiles made, they'll see everything we can show them. And one of the nice things about Dalton these days is there's a wonderful new vinyl plant here, IVC, and talked with Paul Murphin over at IVC the other day, and he gave us a great warm embrace and said, our plant is your plant. Anytime you want to come do a tour, we'd love to have your guys through here. So we're going to take them and walk them through IVC. We're going to talk to them about laminate. We're going to show them hardwood being made, area rugs if they want to see how area rugs are going to be made. But we're going to show them all of the components and all of the pieces, and then we're going to rush them right back to those mock-ups. The building that we're looking at, that we should have done in, it'll probably take us 120 days to get everything done. But we're talking about a 12,000 square foot heated air conditioned building. These will be full-size room mock-ups, and we'll have the ability to actually link the mock-ups together so that we'll start you off on a little room. And the next room will be a little room and a set of stairs. And the next room will be a little room and a set of stairs and a closet under the stairs. And then maybe it's 2 rooms linked together. We'll have the ability to do all of that. And it's because it's one facility. We're going to use that same facility all day, every day. We don't have to ship stuff all over the country. It's going to be here. And I know that's a whole lot, but again, it's recruiting, it's training, and then on the back end, it's placement. And we'll talk about placement in a few minutes.
Yeah.
But we've got a placement program.
Yeah. And that building will be here in Dalton?
Dalton, Georgia.
I see. The recruiting part.
Yep.
You said job fairs and a series of things like that around the country. Is that where you see?
Yeah, in my opinion, for a lot of very good reasons, the military is kind of downsizing, and we're bringing a lot of guys home. We start looking at the demographic. Who's a great demographic for becoming a tradesman? Well, most of us learned our trade somewhere before we were 30 years old. So I'm going to tell you that my demographic is from 19 when we got out of high school to about 29. And if you look at those years, very high unemployment in this current society. We have very high unemployment in those years. So we've got all those guys looking for either a job or a career. And that's another thing about the Fast Career Institute. We really don't want to train hourly installers. We don't want to train hourly helpers. What we really want to do is we want to create the world's best helper. We want to put them out on the floor with real installers, and then a year from now, we want to give them enough business skills, and we want them to start their own crew. Because again, what we really need is better installers, amen to that, but we also need more installers.
So this will also teach them how to run an installation business at some point in time down the road.
Absolutely. In that 2 hours every morning, I'm going to have them for a month. One of those mornings, we're going to talk about insurance and how to insure your vehicle and what your liability, a lot of guys don't even know what their liability insurance covers. We're going to talk to them about their automobile insurance or their vehicle insurance. We're going to talk to them about basic accounting. Here's how you balance your checkbook, guys, because a lot of guys don't know that. They're not dumb, they just don't know those things.
Never been exposed to it.
We're going to teach them how to file their taxes. We're going to teach them that child support's got to be paid. We're going to talk to them about basics of contract law so that they know what they're signing when they sign in.
So these recruits will come from the world at large and possibly from retailers and other workrooms and so on.
We hope, and I don't put any I don't put any limits on where we're going to get them.
Yeah.
Military guys, I love the idea of hiring the guys that are vets that came out of the military. They were in 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, whatever it was. They know how to get out of bed in the morning. They've got some discipline in their life. They're probably going to say yes sir, no sir, and I don't know sir. And for me, that's a good thing. I like that attitude in people. They're going to know how to take care of themselves in tough situations. And what they probably want is they just want a normal life for their family. We're going to teach them a skill which they can convert into a job, which they can convert into a career and a business of their own. Own that truck, own those tools a year from now, and go get your own business set up and do that. So that's, now, military certainly is a great place. School programs, great place. Every state has placement organizations in it.
There should be lots of people out there that are looking for a job. And
Howard Brodsky, when we went to Howard with this program for the
from CCA Global,
the CCA Global, all of those wonderful brands. It was funny because I've known Howard a long time, and Howard's not an easy sell. Howard knows what he's doing. And we laid all of our stuff out on a big table, and we sat there, and about 30 minutes in, Howard leaned in. And he started kind of touching things and placing things and asking questions about this and that, and he basically sold himself after that. And Howard looked at me and he said, I don't think we're thinking big enough, Don. And he said, I'll tell you what, I think CCA alone could fill most of these classes that you're talking about. So we're going to run a special program with CCA for their members. The details on that aren't available today, so I can't talk about that. But CCA is going to have a program, and basically it's so that all of those CCA members, they can help us recruit. If we can get WFCA on board one of these days, that would be great. We need to go talk to them. And if we can get them on board, then all of their members, literally somebody walks in and looks like a good prospect for being an installer, they would have some place to send them. We have a good relationship with a couple of the big boxes. And I know everybody gets a little crazy around the edges about the big boxes, but I got to tell you, they stepped up first. They asked me what we could do and what we should do, and they offered to write the first check. So they're not going to hire installers because they don't hire installers. We're going to work with their workrooms, and what we'll do is if they want to recruit, we'll take their guys, they'll pay their fees, and we'll send them back to them.